Hey guys, welcome back to another WoW Weekly with Myst. And for this week we have the Fated Raid will return back to Castle Nothria, and PvP Brawl is going to be South Shore versus Terran Mail, and the weekly is going to be the pet battles. One minor thing I would like to add to the weekly events, but it's more like a daily reminder, and that is that the Spirit of Iskaara mount, which is the crystal moose mount, that cutoff is today. So the archaeology quest line that swaps every so often, it's gonna swap tomorrow. So if you haven't gotten that mount and you don't want to wait another half a year for that quest chain to roll back around, today is the day to do it. So one thing I thought we'd discuss in today's video is the dinars. This is something that I just recently finished the quest for. I just finished the quest Crossing Fate, which is your first part where, actually, the way I'm reading it, it's the most intense part because it requires you to kill 30 different Fated Raid bosses, which really is all 3 raids. So there is that. And then after you do that one, there's another quest that's supposedly supposed to pop up because I'm just handing in my first one. And the second one is going to be defeat 15 of the Fated Raid bosses, which is going to get you another puzzling cartel dinar. And then the third step, you only have to defeat 5. So it does seem to go like, basically the way I'm seeing it is they're slashing it in half every step, right? The first one was 30, then the second was 15, and then the third is 5. The 3 puzzling cartel dinars that you get from these 3 are the only 3 you'll ever earn. So once you get your dinar, you can visit vendors that sell trinkets and weapons from those raids. Okay, so these guys are located to the right of the Great Vault. There's 3 of them, one for each one of the raids. So the Castle Nothria one is Karopo, Sanctum is Techoso, and Sepulture is Soturu. I don't know why I'm struggling on these names, but okay, that's their names. And once you've obtained one of the items, do not purchase that item again with a puzzling cartel dinar, as you can upgrade fated items to a higher item level using the Sacred Creation impetus. Now, that one you get from combining the Confounding Ancient Ciphers. I looted a few of these on the first week of the Fated, and they are pretty handy. I was talking about them in a past video, how you can get them if you're doing heroic bosses. And so these will put your item level up to like a mythic quality. So the biggest reason I wanted to discuss these dinar, that's just the basics of it, but I'm gonna screenshot the rest. And it's just that I wanted you guys to spend it on what you should spend it on. If you want, because you'll only ever get 3, so you kind of don't want to wrongfully spend it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna link the charts. I've got charts for all the tank specs, all the healer specs, and all the DPS specs listed with the names of the items that are best for you. And in that way, you can use every single one of your dinars on the loot that you should have. So the next thing we're going to talk about is this past maintenance. So this maintenance was an interesting one. I was logged in on Tuesday, and as someone who barely uses the auction house, I didn't I didn't notice any problems. There was no DCing or any of that stuff. But if you're a person that likes to use the auction house, you saw problems galore. There was apparently a lot of problems with the auction house. I recently just checked my phone to just look what it looks like on the companion app, and it gives me an error message when I click on the sell tab. And then there's also been a blue post saying that they are aware of the problems and it may take 2 or 3 days to fix it. And it is currently Sunday, so we're probably looking at Tuesday or Wednesday, which is convenient that they would quote that time, because that just makes it sound like they're going to try to fix it with another maintenance on Tuesday, probably. So, yeah. One thing I will add, though, is that I do like to occasionally buy stuff on the auction house. So I was looking at the auction house and stuff was cheap. I did some bargain shopping this week earlier into the week because, like, things were really cheap. So I don't know if that's intended. I imagine it is. I don't imagine that's, like, an error or anything, because there's, you're reaching a more wide audience since it's, the commodities are, like, region-wide now. So yeah, it just kind of makes sense that there'd be more competition and more people undercutting other people. And yeah, so I think it was probably normal for those to be cheap. You'll have to let me know if you are a person that sells on the auction house. Like, did it kill your selling market? Yeah, I'd be curious to know, like, are you still selling stuff good? Like, I've heard people say that they're, like, selling things fast because they're going pretty much as soon as they post them. But that doesn't mean you're selling them good. Like, are you settling for a really low amount to sell those items now? I only sell items that I can make at least 10K in one shot off of. Yeah, that's the kind of auction house person I am. So pretty much it's like mounts or BOEs, shit like that. Like, if I can't make 10K on the one item, I typically don't pop it in the auction house. Yeah. I don't like the little bit at a time. Yeah. And I kind of feel like the token's to blame for that one, because before the token, I did sell, like, anything I could, whichever way I could make money, I would just sell it, And I shouldn't say everything's 10K. Like, my alchemist will sell flasks, but most of the time it's a 10K minimum. But I've noticed that, like, since the token has been a thing, I'm more picky with what I sell on the auction house. I'm not willing to, like, clear a shit ton in my mailbox. Like, I think really what it came down to is I didn't want things to get mailed back to me over and over. So, like, yeah. So I just pick, like, a couple of things here and there. Yeah, because before the token, I used to have, like, I would try to resell so much stuff that my mailbox would legit hit capacity. I wouldn't even be able to accept mail anymore. Yeah, and yeah, that's the type of seller I used to be before the token. And now with the token, it's like, if I've got nothing that's, like, worthwhile selling, but I need money, then I just buy a token, like, yeah. I'll try my best to, like, make my money, from the auction house, but, for me anyway, the token kind of, like, made me not want to bother with the auction house selling. Okay, so next up we have some Dragonflight stuff. And this right here is the loading screen. I love this. I think this loading screen looks amazing. And yeah, it is one of the best loading screens I've seen, for sure. Which is why I'm not sure if you guys really pay attention to like the background pictures I use for my WoW Weekly. But we've swapped the Dragonflight. I like this one so much that we now use this loading screen picture as our Dragonflight news scene. Yeah, it looks very pretty. So something we found out is that a Dragonflight actually begins 40 years after the opening of the Dark Portal. So that is our Azeroth timeline that we're sitting in for Dragonflight. So there is a 3-year time skip between the end of Shadowlands and the start of Dragonflight. And the total time between the beginning of Shadowlands and the beginning of Dragonflight is 5 years. Okay, so the next topic is Primalist Invasions. Every 6 hours these will occur, and they last for 2 hours. There is 4 types of invasions: air, earth, fire, and water. Each invasion fills the area with Primalist NPCs, as well as imbuing already existing NPCs in the area with abilities of the invading element. The invaded area also changes to more closely match the attacking element. This picture here is the obsidian throne in Waking Shores during an air Primalist invasion. So the objective to these invasions is to grind NPCs to collect currency to purchase starter gear. You're able to purchase 2 tiers of gear with Primalist Invasions, one on a currency that can be grinded whenever an invasion is up, and a rarer currency available on a weekly basis. The first set of gear comes from Elemental Overflow, a currency obtained from grinding Primalist Invasion mobs. There is no limit to how much you can farm from these invasions, besides the time limit on the invasions themselves. Currently over on the alpha, this gear is sold at an item level 382. Bracers, belts, and cloaks cost 200. Shoulders, boots, and gloves cost 350. Helms, legs, and chests cost 500. And weapons cost 800. There's also Storm Sigil gear, which of course comes from a currency called Storm Sigil. And this is a rare currency obtained from the Primalist Invasion mobs. This currency is far more limited, as you can only obtain them once per invasion per week. The currency is a reward for a quest item that drops once per invasion per week. As there are 4 different types of invasions, you can obtain 4 Storm Sigils per week. Currently on the alpha, this gear is sold at item level 395. So bracers, belts, and cloaks cost 5. Shoulders, boots, and gloves cost 7. Helms, legs, and chests cost 10. And weapons will cost 13. This is what the cloth set looks like. This is what the leather set will look like. This is the mail set. This is the plate set. This here is an offhand. This is a dagger. This is a one-handed axe. One-hand mace. I am really liking these weapons so far. This one in particular looks amazing. Yeah. There is a lot of color in there. It might just look blue, but to me, I am seeing like a blue, black, like an aqua, a reddish, a green. Yeah, like I'm really liking those colors. Like some of those colors are very vague, but you know, they're still there. This is the one-handed mace. The warglaive. That warglaive looks really nice. The gun, wand, shield, polearm, staves, and the two-handed sword. Okay, so this next topic is for PvPers. So there is going to be a starter farm PvP set that you can do by completing world PvP activities. So this will be called the Bloody Token PvP gear. The Breaker PvP gear can be purchased from Militia, who is part of the Scourge of the Flightless. She serves as a PvP quartermaster located by the training dummies in Valdrakken. The gear is purchased using Bloody Tokens. It's a new currency awarded for doing PvP activities in the Dragon Isles. At the moment, the only way of obtaining these Bloody Tokens is by completing PvP world quests in the Dragon Isles, but more activities that award Bloody Tokens will likely be added in the future. PvP world quests in Dragonflight work in the same fashion as they do in Shadowlands. They're only visible with war mode on. So here's an example right here of, an objective that you could do. You can see that there's the quest. It's a bug that it says it rewards 0 bloody tokens. It should say 20. So disregard that. It'll be proper, once Dragonflight releases. And then you can also see that you get the Dragon Isle supply cache as your currency. So the cost of the gear. Bracers, belts, and cloaks cost 100. Shoulders, boots, and gloves cost 150. Helms, legs, and chests cost 200. And weapons will cost 250. The gear is sold at an item level 389. The 2 set will increase your versatility by 131. The 4 set says when you are stunned, harden your resolve, absorbing of up to 71,654 damage for 10 seconds. Cannot occur more than once every 2 minutes. And then the 6-piece set, killing enemy players grants Breaker's Frenzy, increasing versatility and movement speed. And this can stack up to 10 times. So this is the cloth set, the leather set, mail set, and the plate set. Okay, next topic is reputation in the Dragonflight. I think I was going to say in the Dragon Isles, and then I just went with in the Dragonflight. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, reputation. Technically, it's not reputation, it's renown. I was really hoping they would not return renown. But whatever. And honestly, I didn't see anything wrong with the way reputation has been, but we'll see how they play it out. Anyway, there are 4 main factions in the Dragon Isles. There's the Dragonscale Expedition, the Maruk Centaur, the Iskaara Tuskar, and the Valdrakken Accord. As you first discover these factions and check your rep standings, you'll notice that you don't actually have reputation bars. They are renown bars. I'm just gonna stop right there, and I'm gonna do my prediction like I always do, and I'm gonna say, I betcha rep takes longer. I betcha it takes longer to up those renown than it would ever take you to do rep the way we're used to. Yeah. Because we don't know how many levels of renown, and on there we're already seeing a 6, and it's not confirmed that that's the final one. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess it depends on how many points is technically in that renown. And yeah, but I've got a funny feeling that will actually make the reputation take longer. Okay, continuing on. So you'll be able to check your Dragon Isles renown by clicking on your Dragon Isles summary menu. Mousing over a specific faction in the summary window will give you more info, such as how much renown is left. for the next level, what rewards the next renown level will give you, as well as an option to track that faction with an experience bar. Clicking on the faction on the summary will open up the Renown tab for that faction, which uses a very similar UI to the one used in Shadowlands, and you can preview all your rewards from there. So now to farm the Dragon Isles Renown. You will complete daily quests in Dragon Isles. It grants you 75 rep with that faction. Completing the weekly quest, which is making a name. It says gain reputation with any major faction in Dragon Isles. So basically you collect 3,000 rep with any Dragon Isle faction for that week. And that will grant you an extra 200 rep for all Dragon Isle factions. Completing events as the invasions that we just talked about and also centaur hunts grant reputation and change depending on event. One renown level requires 1,000 reputation to obtain. Currently, with the known max renown levels for each Dragon Isle faction, farming these faction renown requires less rep than your usual neutral to exalted, which requires 42,000 rep. If that's true, then kudos. Like, I want you to prove me wrong, Blizzard, because I don't want it to take longer than it already does. But I'll believe it when I see it. I sense a catch, and I'm just waiting for the other ball to drop here. So, which I'm sure will happen closer, because this is the time where they want to hype you up for the expansion. They're not going to really tell you the catches yet. They're going to leave that to the time frame of it releasing. When you've already spent your money and you're in there, that's when they're going to hit you with the negatives, because I know some negatives are coming. The Merrick Centaur have a maximum renown of 20 or 20,000 rep to farm. Dragon Scale is a maximum renown of 25 or 25,000 rep to farm. Iskaara, Tuskar, and the Valdrakken Accord have a max renown of 30 or 30,000 reputation to farm. Yeah, I knew they'd be higher than that 6, that's for sure. The question I have here, and, let me know if you're thinking the same question. But when I think of rep, I think of rep buffs, like Dark Moon and stuff. And if it's not legit rep, is that going to be included? Are they going to change the Dark Moon buff to allow bonus renown now? Or is that just going to be... I imagine the first Dark Moon that shows up, if that is their plan, it'll be buggy as shit and it won't work, right? But I hope they're thinking of that, thinking of, I would hope we're not losing rep buffs, because technically it's not rep. Yeah, but we'll see, I guess. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about the Iskaara Community Feast. I thought this one was an interesting one. So basically, there's going to be an event where players can gather together to help the Iskaara Tuskar create a magnificent feast. On screen is a picture of that feast. It is in the Azerspan map. And it'll actually have an X marker on it. And players have 10 minutes to get to Iskaara to help Big Canuck, the Master of Soups, create a most delicious feast. So once the event starts, players have 10 minutes to gather as many ingredients as they can for the soup. The soup starts at poor quality, and as players gather materials, the soup will increase in quality. For the first portion of the soup, players need to gather random fish and fish heads scattered across Iskaara. You're able to dragon ride while carrying a fish. Once the soup reaches common quality, mobs like snapdragons will begin to spawn and attack the soup. You need to protect it. Killing these mobs will drop pieces of meat, which can also be thrown into the soup cauldron to increase its quality. Once the 10 minutes is up, a big Canuck finishes the soup and every player can go down to Iskaara to take a bowl. You'll be able to eat soup for 1 hour after the event ends. Taking a sip of the soup gives you a buff called Iskaara Soup, which heals and grants versatility to you and nearby players when killing a mob in the Dragon Isles. The buff lasts an hour, and the duration of the versatility buff is increased as the soup reaches higher quality. Here is a list of all the qualities. So you can see there's poor quality, common quality, uncommon, rare, epic, and a legendary. So this guy was spotted in the alpha. I think he is adorable. So his name's Taivan, the big, good, gentle Bakar. So he's like a large dog. And he will be out in Anaran Plains. So without giving any quest chain spoiler stuff here, all I'm going to say is it's a cute little side quest or quest chain that you do with him. And at the end, you get a new toy. It's called Taivan's Trumpet. And that allows you to summon him to your side and he'll increase versatility for all those nearby by 1. Another transmog piece is this flower bracelet. It's memory of Ysera. You'll get it from a side quest line. And we also have some more Tuskar Cosmetic transmogs. So this is the Tuskar Trader's Armor, the Fisherman's Packs, Tuskar Trader's Pack, Tuskar Backpack, the Tuskar Timber Splitter, Tuskar Fisherman's Dagger, Tuskar Leviathan's Hook, Tuskar Fisherman's Harpoon, and I just gotta say, this is my favorite one. The fishy on this weapon is just so cute. It makes me want it. Tuskar Mystic Stave, and the Tuskar Sharktooth Bow Thrower. So that is the retail news. A few things regarding Classic. So we did get a date for the pre-patch. So the Wrath of the Lich King Classic pre-patch will go live on August 30th, which is really soon. Also, September 6th to 13th, we will have the Zombie Plague event. September 13th will be the Scourge Invasion event. September 20th to October 6th will be Brewfest. And then on September 26th, Wrath of the Lich King Classic launches. It'll launch at 3 p.m. Pacific. Arena Season 5 will begin on October 4th and 5th. And then October 6th, you will see Nax, the Eye of Eternity, and Obsidian Sanctum become available. And that will show up at 3 p.m. Pacific. That's what we know for dates so far on all the stuff that's going to happen between the pre-patch and a little after the launch of Wrath Classic. So with all that said, when does Season 4 for Burning Crusade Classic end? It will end August 29th, so the day before the pre-patch. And another thing to keep in mind is that the TBC Dark Portal Pass and the Deluxe Edition will be retiring from the store on August 29th. Okay, so my accomplishments. I got a lot done this week. Yeah, and it's all mounts. So I looted 4 mounts this week. Serenade, which I did a video on Saturday for you guys. I went into the raid. I could have waited until I was going to do my normal raid with my group that I raid with every week, which would have been a couple of days later, but I just wanted to like do that video. So I just went in, quickly grabbed the thing, and went and crafted Serenade. So I have the Serenade mount now. Ice Crown Tournament, I had 100 currency, so I went and bought another mount. So it's the Nomoregan Mechanostrider. That puts me down to needing to buy 2 mounts on the Druid, and then I'm currently working on the Paladin specific mount. That farm's taking a little longer because all I do is the dungeon. I just go into the dungeon, and it's literally like a 1-2 minute run every day. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm trying to avoid... I'm avoiding doing all the stuff for the dailies because it's just for one mount. I have everything else, right? So, yeah. So we're getting really close. Like, in a couple of weeks, the only mount I'll be working on over there will be the Paladin mount. So that'll be really nice. Which means that I might make my goal, because my goal for that was that I had it done before Wrath of the Lich King Classic released. And that releases at the end of September. You know, because I'm not counting the pre-patch. I said release date. I didn't say free patch. So I'm giving myself till the end of September. And I think we'll make that. Yeah. The third mount that I got is the Aerial Unit R21X. This is the hard mode Mechagon. So this was a good one. I really did luck out with this one because it was like my first go of attempts. Yeah. And it wasn't a full group. It was just 2 of us. But this mount works a lot like the Kara mount, where each person in your group is 20% chance. So we did have a 40% chance it would drop. Very cool mount. I really like the idea that you don't get attracted from the floaty aerial units in Mechagon if you're on it. So all my alts that are out in Mechagon have that mount on their bars now. And the final mount that I looted, and actually I looted it the morning of me doing this video, is the Slime Cat. So Jigglesworth is now mine. I've been working my ass off getting the progression on that. Pretty much since Faded dropped, I have been raiding every week since. Yeah, and we're not done. Yeah, because I also want the title. So now I'm gonna keep going. I found a really good team to like raid with now. So like Faded or not, I'm just raiding every week again, and it's been really nice. I've missed regular raids, so it's really nice to have a team to go in with again. And yeah, so the plan is to do heroic now. So the next 3 weeks, I'm gonna be working on heroic and get the title. I'll fully admit it was the first time I'd gone into Sepulture. I'd done the other 2 raids in the past, but Sepulture I hadn't really gone into. So yeah, and it was really nice to have like a group explaining, mechanics and stuff like that. So yeah, that was really nice. I will say, now that I've done the raid, I feel like Anduin should have been the final boss, Like, yeah, I felt like he was the tougher one out of that entire raid. But the jailer, had some pretty cool mechanics to it. Yeah, I did like his mechanics, and yeah, I did actually like a lot of the fights in Sepulture, so it was pretty cool. Anyway, that was my accomplishments, and yeah, I wasn't expecting to get that many mounts this week, but cool. And since you're watching it right now, this week I did actually do my very first attempt at farming Jaina's mount. I'd never done Mythic Jaina in BFA. So, you know, I'm I'm a normal / heroic raider. Yeah. Typically at the end of an expansion, I'll do like the first few bosses of the raids on Mythic. But aside from that, I just don't have the patience for Mythic raiding. I'm okay with like wipes, but I'm just not okay with that many. Yeah. I'm good to try a few times, but I'm not good to try like all night on one boss. Okay, so that was my first attempt on the Glacier mount. So I'm gonna start putting these in my weekly farms. Yeah, and then Gmod, I think I'm at like 20 or something. I was farming Gmod in BFA. I'll fully admit Gmod was the reason I joined it, and a part of me totally forgot about the Glacier mount. It wasn't until I was looking to see if I wanted to keep going with the group after Gmod that I was like, oh yeah, the Glacier mount, you know, because I was doing Mythic, right? So yeah. Anyway, that concludes today's WoW Weekly. I hope you enjoyed. Have fun in the game. Let me know, did you get your slime cat? And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Soldier. We will see that the Lord Admiral's wounds are healed. Champions,